to another episode of Fan Talk. This is a podcast by me, Kyle Brenchley, just a fan, watching sports, talking about it, and having a good time. I'm back in the studio. As you can see, the last couple weeks have been a little discombobulated. Last week, obviously, my episode was filmed from my car. And the week before that, I was in Las Vegas covering Mountain West Tournament. And I didn't really have a voice, literally. My voice was gone, so missed an episode that week. But I'm committed to getting back on track, and here we are back again, Fan Talk, another episode. We're back in the studio. We're here to talk some college basketball. A lot has happened since my last episode. A lot has happened since I last, was kind of giving you a breakdown of the first day. We're now in the Sweet 16. A lot happens in a week, and we've actually had a couple days of break here. Finally, today is Thursday, so we're getting some games back on and watching some Sweet 16. So I'm gonna show you that. I'm gonna just talk basics about my bracket that I personally made through ESPN. I made a bunch of brackets and joined a bunch of groups. I'll actually do a little screen share here on my phone here in a bit, and I'll kind of show you. For all you visual watchers here on YouTube, if you're tuning in from Spotify, no worries. My voice is all you really need. I'll explain everything, and I appreciate you guys for listening. So Spotify, iHeartRadio, YouTube, this is where you find the podcast. Fan Talk Kyle Brenchley, I appreciate if you guys look it up. Something new that I'm going to be starting to do is post little clips from the video. If you don't tune into YouTube, if you're just an audio listener, or if you just want to see shortened clips, I'm going to be starting to post those on my Instagram. I have a separate account called KBrench Sports that I created about a year ago, and so I'm going to be posting some of those little clips there on that Instagram page and just keeping it more up to date. So go check that out. It's KBrench Sports on Instagram. After this episode is filmed, I am going to go through and obviously post it on YouTube, post it on Spotify, and then I'm going to put a little snippet there on Instagram as well. Just to, put it out there for all the people who use maybe one of these platforms and not all, just to get some reach and to be considerate of everyone. So let's jump right in. I'll show you how I'm doing with my bracket here first, and then we can kind of talk about what the actual bracket is and what I've seen and what is going on. So here we go. I'm just going to be here on my phone a little bit. I'm obviously screen recording it, and you guys can follow along if you're visually watching here. But here, ESPN, this is the home page, and I made 7 brackets. I think I made 6 through ESPN, 1 through CBS. So as you can see, I'm not doing very well at all. Last year I did very well. I actually won this group that I was in. It was a money league. I actually ended up winning $900, and it was awesome. It was cool. It's really cool. This year I joined the same league, and the pot has it increased. It's now up to $1,000 for the winner. But the luck's not in my corner this year. So I do have one. My top bracket here, as you can see, is only at 54% with a 1290 max. I have Alabama winning it. But as I mentioned, I've guessed too many wrong, just didn't get it. And as always, I make like a silly bracket. I made this bracket with Utah State winning it all, just because that's the school I attend, and obviously they got knocked out in the first round. I had Kansas winning, repeating. It's it hasn't been done, and it will continue not to be done until next year. Another bracket with Gonzaga. That one's not doing as well. I think I messed up a lot with, the round of 64 and the round of 32. So a lot of points missed there. Again, Kansas. And then I always pick one where I just pick all the upsets. And I had UC Santa Barbara, the Gonchos, winning it all. And obviously they got knocked out there. And that's probably going to be the worst bracket ever created. So yeah, I'll just kind of show you here this group that I'm a part of. This is the group that I won some money in last year. It's got over 190 people in it, and you enter $10 per bracket. So some people do 1, do 2, do 3. 3 is the max that you can do. So last year I just did 1. I did 1 bracket, and it happened to be the one that won it all. So that's crazy. But this year I did 2 brackets, and neither of them are doing super well. As you can see, shout out to my brother. He is currently in first place here, Ryan Brench. He was on my podcast a couple weeks ago. Well, I guess a couple months ago now. Time flies. Back in November, we were talking some World Cup and some NFL and stuff. So hopefully he wins. If he does, that'd be pretty incredible. You know, two brothers back-to-back years just owning this league here. But yeah, so I'm not doing too great there, but it's always fun to, you know, join groups and to try your luck and to have a good time. So now, getting that out of the way, let's talk about the bracket in general. Let's talk about the tournament in general. It's been fun. There's been some exciting upsets. There's been some heartbreak losses. There's been everything in between. Great calls, everything. So I got my laptop over here, and I'm just going to kind of go through and, you know, give my analysis of what's going on and how I feel about it. So first and foremost, Alabama, I obviously picked them to win in one of my brackets. I think they're looking really good. I think they still have a, you know, really good shot. They have a matchup against San Diego State tomorrow. That will be fun to watch because obviously I watched San Diego State throughout the season. They're a physical team. They're a deep team. You know, they really just took it to Furman, just kind of blew them out of the water and, you know, really said, hey, we belong here in the Sweet 16. So that should be a fun game to watch. I do think Alabama will, you know, kind of push through and go through all the way. That Furman game, though, that was crazy. I did mention it last week, but I think that was one of those moments in college basketball where it's just magic, and you just love to see it. Obviously, if you're a Virginia fan, you don't, but if you're just a casual fan, you love to see, you know, crazy moment like that where, I mean, they're literally down by 2. And all Virginia has to do is, you know, get the ball in and not turn it over. But then that's exactly what they do. It was just bonkers. Totally bonkers. Princeton also with the upset against Arizona. I don't think a lot of people picked that one. I just think that, you know, attests to the fact that, you know, even if you're a 1, 2, 3 seed, like, you got to prepare for this first game as if it's your last, right? Because you know that 15 seed, that 14 seed, and in this tournament, even the 16 seed, you know that they're leaving it all out on the court. They're not just happy to be there. They want to prove something. And so, you know, I think Arizona was, you know, caught with their tail between their legs, and Princeton took them out. And then Princeton goes and takes out Missouri, and, you know, they find themselves in the Sweet 16 against a very good Creighton team. That game should be fun to watch. That game is also Friday, tomorrow. 9 p.m. there on TBS. I'll definitely be watching that one. Blue Jays versus Tigers. Let's see what happens there. Really fun. I don't think too many people picked that one. I definitely didn't pick Princeton to be in the Sweet 16. I should have. Definitely should have. All right, let's talk about the elephant in the room. Fairleigh Dickinson. Any of you viewers, I mean, you probably know now. I should have asked this before the tournament. Like, where is Fairleigh Dickinson? I had to look it up. It's a school in New Jersey, actually. And their gym is probably as good as, you know, your junior high basketball gym, right? It's just not a big school, not a big program. They really only got in because Merrimack, the team that actually won their conference tournament, is transitioning to D1. So, you know, they had to wait that grace period. They actually weren't allowed to participate in the tournament because they hadn't transitioned, or they hadn't done the waiting time, which is a whole nother story, a whole nother conversation. But Fairleigh Dickinson, you know, like they lost the championship, so they weren't even supposed to be in the tournament. And then they come and they punch Purdue in the mouth. 5-point victory. Incredible call by Andrew Catalon, who I was actually able to meet down there at the Mountain West tournament. Really cool guy. Really great call. Really excited for him in that moment. But it's just crazy. I think a lot of people picked Purdue, and that, you know, biggest bracket buster there was. Like, it really just shut everything down and, you know, sent Purdue packing. And Fairleigh Dickinson, obviously, they're out now. They did not make it to the Sweet 16. They played a very good FAU team who's only lost 3 games all season, and that game was exciting. I was watching that game, and it was back and forth. Fairleigh Dickinson had the lead, but then FAU came storming back, and it was just such a back and forth game. I didn't know who to root for, but eventually the Owls came out on top, and they find themselves in the Sweet 16. A team few people picked to be there, but I have seen brackets where they had FAU over Purdue. And so, people who did that were really, really having a good time there. They were doing well. Let's see here. Duke over Oral Roberts, and then Duke losing to Tennessee. I think a lot of people had Duke, going through. They were playing hot, but Tennessee got them. Another hot team, give me the Kansas State Wildcats. These guys are playing great. They're playing Michigan State today, 6:30 Mountain Standard Time. That's a game I'm watching. Tom Izzo, Mr. March. Michigan State's playing really well. Kansas State's playing very well, but only one team can go to the Elite Eight. That should be a fun one to watch. I honestly did pretty good in the bracket with the West. I think my only slip was with Kansas. But other than that, like having Arkansas, UConn, UCLA, and Gonzaga all there in the Sweet 16, pretty straightforward in that one. Nothing too crazy, no upsets other than Kansas going down to Arkansas. And then over here in the Midwest, Miami, man, they have had very good tournaments in the last couple of years. They're playing Houston Friday night. That should be a fun game to watch. I wouldn't be surprised if Miami won, punched their ticket to the Elite Eight. Also Xavier, Texas. That will be a fun game to watch. Texas is playing hard. I support Oklahoma. I'm a big Oklahoma fan. And so I never really root for Texas. I did pick them to win in the second chance brackets. ESPN does this thing where, you kind of pick starting from the Sweet 16 on, just because, your perfect bracket's definitely busted. So I do have them winning in one of those just because they're a good team and favorable matchup if they get Houston or Miami. Either way, it's going to be super exciting. So we got 4 games today, Thursday. A lot of fun matchups. I'm excited to watch, and we should see what will happen. Well, let's start with the game that's first happening. Let's start with Kansas State, Michigan State will be played first, 6:30 p.m. Kansas State beat Kentucky. They beat Montana State. And Michigan State's coming off a big win against Marquette. Obviously, they beat USC in the first round. This might be the greatest start to the Sweet 16 that we've seen in a long time. Kansas State, Michigan State. I think Kansas State finally gets this one. I think they go to the Elite Eight. I think they beat Michigan State. But this will be a fun game to watch as well. I wouldn't be surprised if Kansas State made it to the Final Four. They have to get past either Tennessee or FAU. So very favorable for Kansas State to win against Michigan State and then to beat FAU or Tennessee. I'm rooting for FAU, honestly. Give me some FAU in the Elite Eight. That'd be sweet. Also, Arkansas, Coach Muscleman. I mean, that's what we should call him now, Muscleman, after he took his shirt off, and he was dancing around. Arkansas had a great run last year. They're playing a tough team in UConn. And then UCLA, Gonzaga. I think Gonzaga goes through. They're just such a quality team. So I'd say Gonzaga, Kansas State, FAU, and give me Arkansas. Give me Brett Muscleman and the Hogs going through to the Elite Eight. Really fun lineup today and tomorrow. So let me know. Let me know down in the comments how your bracket's doing. If you still are, in the race, if you still have a team that could win it all, that hasn't been eliminated yet. And let me know your biggest surprises, the best moments, whatever. Just let me know down in the comments. Again, you can find me on Spotify, YouTube, searching Kyle Brenchley Fan Talk. And go check out the Instagram page, KBrench Sports. I'll be posting little snippets of the episode there, little videos. So if you want to keep up that way, that would be great as well. Happy March Madness, Sweet 16 watching.